Hey guys, I'm Rick, and that is One Big Pile of Bricks with our amazing guest, season 4 contestant Dan. Woo! Hi Dan, how you doing?
Yep, pretty good.
Yep, he's tired. We've had a big
Tired,
day,
yeah.
so if it's not a long podcast, we are exhausted. It's been a massive day. There's been a lot of people. Now, Dan, how was your experience with Kirsty on Lego Masters?
Kirsty, you have to remind me that was like 2 years ago.
It's been a long
It has
time,
been
dude.
a
It's
while,
been a
yeah.
long time. It still feels fresh because it's like was not that long ago on TV.
Yeah, no, it's like to me it honestly feels a lifetime ago.
And a lot's changed.
Yeah, well, it was like during when we did that was sort of a different time as
Yeah.
well with everything going on. But going back to the question, yeah, Kirsty's just freaking awesome.
She's
Like,
awesome, dude. She's a great person.
As you probably know, like endless energy, which
She has to.
it was hard to keep up with, but also like creativity was just like amazing. Like she had like 1,000,001 ideas for anything that we got thrown our way.
How did you find the whole colorblind aspect?
That was interesting. Like it only really clicked with me. It's sort of I knew like she was colorblind when we started, but I didn't really understand what that meant until like towards the end. It made sense of like why certain color choices were made.
Yeah.
So like looking back at some of the builds that we had and some of the color schemes, I could see there's a certain sort of colors that to Kirsty would pop. So yeah, but it's really interesting in that regard, and it was also being exposed to Kirsty with the color blindness is also I look at things differently now as well, and a whole bunch of stuff that I do with work and stuff as well, like being a lot more aware of people with color blindness.
It must be like we had her on for a podcast. She's amazing. I've never met anyone that says a bad word about her. She's just energetic, and she's like doesn't slow down. That's the best way to describe her.
Yeah.
How did you find your Lego Masters journey going into Lego Masters? Were you concerned that you weren't going to be like good enough?
No, no, no. Like I thought, like it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like even just going through the process of going onto the show was exciting and cool. And then like sort of once you get there, it's like, oh, okay, like sort of you've done most of the hard work anyway to get there. And then once you're there, it's just like it is hard, but it's also like I'm here, I'm going to enjoy as much of it as I can. Yeah, so I wasn't sort of too worried about it. So I have faith that they thought that was a good builder.
And overall, did you have a good experience?
Oh yeah, it's good. It's a lot of hard work. It's exhausting, but it was an awesome experience. Like we all get on really well still,
Which is amazing.
Oh, they're just awesome people to hang out with, and so like, and yeah, so it was great.
So when you first got on, did you apply with a partner or did you apply singly?
Yeah, I just applied by myself, which I was happy to do.
Yeah.
A lot of the people here that I sort of approached to say, "Hey, do you want to come on the show with me?" A lot of them like do Lego to relax, and so Lego Masters is the opposite of that.
Ultimate stressful situation, I would imagine.
Yes, like there's plenty of awesome builders here, as you can see today.
Yeah. It's an amazing show. I'm going to do a vlog tomorrow and get it all sorted.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I think it's great that you guys did what you did in Lego Masters. It's an amazing going into it, not knowing the person you're building with. I feel like would have been difficult, but it seems like you guys got along relatively well.
Like, okay, it could have been difficult, but you know that the other people who are applying and going on it are there for the same reason.
Yeah.
As well. And so like, and have the same interest of doing Legos, and they'll be creative people. So, and also just knowing the sort of personalities and people they're looking for as well for the show. It's not a show designed to have conflict and put people against each other. It's just about getting a whole bunch of cool, creative people together in a room, building awesome stuff. So,
and that's what you want, right? You just want to be there for the building experience.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing of the show is like just seeing how a bunch of talented people approach a challenge in different ways and what they come up with, and looking at the process that they go through with that.
So when you were, walking in a set, first time you get there, did you have a sense of anyone else that could be competitive towards you? Or was it all friendly until it got down to like the end times?
No, it was all friendly. I think all of us knew once we met each other
Yeah.
and we sussed each other out. I know, and probably others did as well, of like, there's one particularly very talented person amongst us. So the rest of us, the best you could do is come second.
Yeah. It's really hard too because, obviously you had Joss and Henry,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
amazing builders. Like, were you going into builds and doing builds? Were you just focused solely on your build? Were you looking around in the room and all thinking, well, we're in trouble at any given time?
No. It's like I approached it as I wasn't competing against the other teams. Like, I was just, Kirsty and I was working through to just try to do the best we could and improve
Yeah.
from our previous builds. I enjoyed going around and checking out what other people were building because I'm just interested in seeing
Yeah.
how other people do stuff. And you can't, like, from watching previous seasons, one of the reasons I want to go on the show is I can be there and just see how other people build and see those builds close up because you don't get to see all of that on the TV. You get
Yeah.
2 minutes of someone's build that they've spent 10, 16 hours building. But being there, you get to see all the details and how they build it. And yeah, so that's sort of.
I know it was a long time ago. It feels like forever ago, obviously. Do you remember any episodes in particular that stuck out for you that were particularly amazing episodes?
Well, Kirsty and I, we have our highlights of our like rubber chicken one.
Yeah.
It's like
Amazing.
that one thing. It's just
And that thing took off on social media. Like,
it was crazy. Like that was just such a crazy random idea which Kirsty came up with the rubber chicken hot rod, and so we just ran with that. And then that whole episode was just like having no idea how it's going to turn out. That thing, it was like a meter long in the end.
dude, that thing was massive.
It was huge. And then just the way it went off the ramp and everything was just like, you couldn't strip that, man. If you tried to replicate,
Yeah.
actually try to do that for real. So that was one of those ones. And then definitely when the show was going to air and all the promos coming up to it, like the chicken featured a fair bit.
Oh, dude, it was in every like
everything.
promo. And
Yeah.
it's great because it's like went crazy, Have you found that after being on the show that you're getting still recognized, or has it slowed down now?
Oh, it's tapered off. Like it's only really so when I'm here at events surrounded by Lego
Yeah.
that people recognize me. And also like a lot of people, they might recognize me, but they're a bit shy to come up. Like especially with kids, they're sort of shy.
Kids are always a bit like nervous, which is fair because,
Yeah. Yeah, it's more like when it was airing, like every day going to work was a bit interesting into who would recognize me on the way in. But yeah, it's just died off pretty quickly, which is fine for me.
Were you approached to go on Grandmasters?
No.
Wow. That's interesting. I find that really odd because I feel like you and Kirsty would have done really well. Like-
Yeah, we could have, but we weren't in the top 4 of our season. So like if it's Grandmasters, you got the top 2 teams from our season, which is that's what Grandmasters is.
It's always hard too because I feel like whoever you're going to choose some people and some people are going to feel left out, right? And you're going to like some people are going to get upset, and it's
there was definitely when I heard from the others, and like guys, you keep a secret really well. There was that bit of missing out factor to
like
it.
FOMO, right?
Yeah, definitely FOMO. But also the whole show kind of there is that aspect as well. Like once you leave the show as well, you sort of think about what other stuff you could have been on the show as well. But you get over it, and like in the end, like realistically, doing season 4, having the opportunity to do that, for me personally, just a few things aligned which allowed me to do that. Doing that again straight afterwards.
It's really hard, right?
Yeah, well, it's hard on my family, like being away from my family for that long.
Because you've got young kids, right?
Yeah.
And that's always hard.
Yeah. So,
but I guess they film it in Sydney, so it's not like coming back wouldn't have been too hard, I guess.
Yeah, there was no coming back in between things. There was
you were locked down.
Yeah,
filming.
We were in a lockdown within a lockdown, so it was full on COVID lockdown, and then
that's
shooting.
Right. You forget that. Like I shouldn't because COVID's still relatively new and it's still propping up everywhere.
Yeah,
but you forget that you guys were the legit stuck in lockdown? Like,
Yeah, like we're up in Sydney where we filmed, but it was like a ghost town. Like everything was
because
shut.
everything
We
would have
couldn't-
been closed, right? And then
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to do like anything during that time.
yeah.
Were they COVID testing you like crazy and making
Oh
sure?
yeah, man. Yeah, I got pretty used to getting COVID tests. Like, oh, at least every second day we're getting a test.
It's nuts. But at
But
least they moved it to Sydney because I know, like, it was in Melbourne and then they were having issues with like lockdown stuff with the season 2.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was season 3.
Season
Wow,
3.
there's so many. Like, I'm so lost. Season 3, I know there was issues, and then they relocated up, up in Sydney because that's where Hamish lives now. So, like, obviously they're going to go to where like the main host.
Yes, yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And it's like, did you find it hard being away from your family?
Yeah, it was very hard. So we would like video chat, but that would be at the end of the day. So like I've had a long day, my kids have had a long day, my partner has had a long day at home, stuck with 2 kids,
Yeah.
doing homeschooling at that time. And also like my kids, they said they didn't want to hear anything about the show. They just wanted to see it on the TV.
Yeah,
So
they want to be surprised.
it's surprised, exactly. So I wasn't able to like talk about my stuff for the day, and the kids were just tired and wrecked. So
Yeah.
it was sort of double edged. It was nice being in contact, but then you sort of realized how much I miss my kids. So there was definitely days where I went, "What am I doing here? Like
Yeah.
this does not feel right." So there were moments where I was very keen to go home.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you, especially you forget like all the lockdown stuff and the stuff that you guys have to go through. And then like now it's like, I use this term very loosely, normal, but now it's like everything's free again and everything's open. So the guys that are filming now didn't have any of those restrictions in place. And then like when watching Grandmasters, did you feel like left out of like, because it was, you're
Mm,
on the previous season, it makes it
yeah,
kind of hard.
I didn't feel left out. Like from what I knew of what was going on, I had a bit of time from when it happened and then aired. So I had a bit of time to process that and process the missing out. But what I did find watching the show, I found it stressful.
Really?
Yeah,
And
like
why is that?
like just being on it, and I know how under the pump you are, and then with the grandmasters, they're all people that've done it before.
Yeah.
The expectation is risen higher. Yeah, I just personally felt for everyone on the show, and was I found a person a bit hard to watch. Like it's still
Yeah. Because
fresh,
still
and
raw, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I felt for all the teams on there. So yeah, I sort of felt more
so
that.
going into like your season, what was your preparation? Did you watch previous Lego Masters? Or did you still Kirsty and never watch Lego Masters?
Oh no, yeah, that I did not know. Which made it really interesting. No, so I didn't do any like prep for it. Like we've always watched Lego Masters, and I did apply for season 1.
Yeah.
And I made it to the audition rounds for that.
Wow.
So, but yeah, didn't get it on that season, and then the other ones, it wasn't on my. Wouldn't have been able to have done it. So yeah, this time around, like they sort of found me rather than me finding them, and then so from that, I kind of thought, well, yeah, I don't need to do much prep. The only thing I did for prep was like working out how to make round things.
Yeah, smart.
And that was about it. I know some of the others, like Nick was very clever. He did a lot of prep for that, and same Caleb as well. Like Caleb researched all the other previous shows and
Yeah, I
things.
would have been watching it religiously to try and figure out and to read the Brickman feedback.
Yeah, like I know from the shows, like there's always certain things that happen throughout your build, getting sort of suggesting to do something last minute to change stuff, which was always sort of
Annoying.
annoying. But yeah, not like prep wise, it's just like just go into it fresh, and just that challenge of seeing what you can do with like here's your brief, go build. You got 10 hours. Like
So with the feedback, were they suggesting you to change certain things, like to make it look better for television?
oh, I don't know about per se for television. That said, when seeing our season on the TV, you understand why, like, making things big and block color,
Yeah.
you don't see all the little bits of detail, which are the fun parts. But on the TV, when you got quick glance of your build, you don't see. And then there's like definitely this critique which is valuable, and then you think this critique just for the sake of critiquing and making TV stuff, and that stuff got a bit irritating for me personally. And when you got some other teams, like I love Nick and Gene, like sometimes they just like they're just doing their own thing and they just stuck
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it, which for them it worked really well. Like they just sort of went, "Yeah, we're just doing this,"
And then just didn't even listen to no feedback and just like, and then I always reflect on watching previous seasons. I don't watch it as much now, obviously, because life is busy and it's incredibly hard to cram now 5 seasons into any given time. But I always like to watch them before I do interviews, so I like get some research and pay
Yeah.
attention, because you forget. Like, do you think you could have done anything differently to advance you in the series?
Maybe if I was 20 years younger. Um, like seriously, like for me, it was just that yeah, the stamina of building,
Yeah.
and I don't think I could have done anything different, nor would I want to have done anything differently on the show. Like Kirsty and I, we sort of earlier on sort of came to the same understanding of what we wanted to do, and we weren't we just wanted to do things our way, and and try things that we haven't done before. So like yeah, and like I said before, like when you met people on there and you go, yeah, we're gonna like the best you could just come second.
Yeah, yeah.
They kind of took off that pressure, and it's just like, you know what, we're just here for fun. Let's see what we can do with these challenges, like how far we can push ourselves and do something different per challenge. But yeah, that's it. I don't think I would do anything differently to advance myself. It's funny, like even when I watch back our season and those last 2 challenges that we missed out on, I still have no idea of what I would have done. Like I just sort of just like
Really?
just
Wow.
I was out, like just switched off and just disengaged. Like yeah, I just sort of had nothing left in the tank when we left. So
It's pretty, I think too, I don't have any kids, but I think it would take a toll being away from your family for that amount of time, and then you're getting towards the like the money end of the business, and being, I think you would feel burnt out, right? Because you're missing that family unit, which you've always been a part of. Then 3 months you're gone, you can't do much about it.
yeah,
Because 3 months is a long time. I don't think people realize how much they suck, like they take up to film a show, because it's over in a
yeah,
couple of weeks. You know, like
yeah. No, I think I underestimated how long I'd be away for as well. Like I thought I only had like 2 scenarios in my head. Like either you just get on the show, get eliminated straight away.
yeah,
That's a good case. Or you get there.
sucks to be Andrew, but that's fine. It's hard. It's one of those things, you know.
Oh, it's like, dude, he's still got to experience it. Like, he's still got to be there. You got 3 builds in. They built some awesome stuff. Like, their first build, that thing was amazing. Like, what Crystal and Andrew did for
Yeah.
that thing. Like, that, I said to them on the show, like, that's something you'd see as a display piece somewhere. Like, that thing was amazing what they built.
I think he surprised a lot of people, because everyone knew him as like he's Brick Banter now, but like Cheap Jokes is the guy who just does like funny Lego videos, right?
Yeah.
And I think he surprised everyone how far he got. And I like that they changed it this year so you could get a bit more personality than having like one episode bang, second episode elimination. They gave him those 3 episodes to sort of like get him comfortable and a bit loose and get him to build free flowing.
Yeah. No, it's definitely that the format was a little bit different, and I think you needed to do that as well, because like otherwise it just becomes too predictable as
When it gets kind of stagnant, I guess, you know, because it's like this, and this is why I'm always shocked when they're like, we're doing another season. I'm like, what else can you do with Lego?
introduce Duplo or something. I don't know.
You know, they're like, build a life-size sculpture out of Duplo, and then all these people's brains are going to break because they're trying to figure out how to build it. So with your, you know, your prep going in the worst case scenario, were you happy how you placed? You were all happy? There's no regrets?
No, because like we only missed out on 2 challenges. Like we did 12 or the 14.
You guys did an amazing job. And this is what I said to Kirsty, you know, like for someone that's colorblind to get that far in a competition around Lego, that's like colors crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's not necessarily about the colors, it's building skill as well. She's going in, she's never seen the show. Like, and that's credit to both you guys.
Oh.
Like, my God.
Like, that is so brave. Like, I wouldn't I wouldn't have done that myself. But like that's Kirsty. Like, from what I know of Kirsty, is just like giving things a go and just jumping in and just
That's an amazing quality in a person to just jump in, not care, and get it done and get as far as you did.
yeah.
Especially not knowing you as a partner. Like, you guys were put together.
Yeah,
Like, there's
yeah. I met pretty much Kirsty the day before filming in person was when we met. So like definitely the first challenge was just working out how to work together and how to share the visions of what we had in our heads with each other, and so we're on the same page. So
with what they showed on TV to like what is actual real, because, editing is magic. Did you guys have any moments where you sort of had to say stop and sort of find out your right flow and get frustrated at each other, or were you just good from the get-go?
oh no, not good from the get-go, but we're both respectful and just talk
It seemed
about
like you guys got along really, really well.
yeah, well, we're just both pretty pragmatic about it and just sort of like at the end of the sort of each build session, sort of have a debrief of what worked well, what you planning to go ahead, how we could work together better. Like, I think it was on the show where it showed like we would brainstorm separately and then pitch to each other rather than brainstorming together,
Wow.
because we were just coming up with too many ideas. So sort of like we both, earlier on sort of just established like we spent 5 minutes just brainstorming ourselves and then pitch to each other and then choose one. And if we can't choose, paper, scissors, rock, go with that, and then just go with that.
Dude, that's amazing. I just feel like that's really good because, we've had previous contestants with previous partners, not going to mention names, but Billsy having issues with his like partner. And this is what happens because when you're getting two grown adults who have never got along before, they've been in the same room, there's a possibility it could go wrong.
Yeah, but like you're going to come across situations in your life where you have to just get things done, like work, whatever. You just put those little things aside and you just like focus on it. And like we did have creative differences with some things. Like I'm like with the rubber chicken, like I was like, this is a crazy idea. How are we going to do this?
Dude, it was amazing.
But then that just worked out to be freaking awesome. So like, it's just like, hey, this could work. All we need, like Brickman always said, one idea executed well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you just approach it like adults and just.
How did you find the Brickman criticism?
Oh, it's always hard to take, especially when you're working on something creatively, and so people can have different opinions on things. So there was definitely some suggestions that Brickman made to us, which were like rubbed us a little bit the wrong way. But like majority of the time, he's there to help you out. So like especially earlier on in your builds, he sort of helps you shape your ideas and sort of focus some things.
He's like a coach, I guess.
Yeah. I sort of like a sort of that cool school teacher that sort of
he'll appreciate that.
Just I can understand where he's coming from. Like he's just trying to help you be your best.
Yeah.
Sometimes how that's delivered and your kind of state of mind, you don't appreciate it at times, but you can see the big picture of what he's trying to do. It's just sometimes the messaging comes a bit blunt.
It's funny, right? Because it's really hard. There's Brickman and then there's Ryan, right? And Brickman's like, this is how you got to do it. It's all about the story, structure. And then there's Ryan who's like, total chill dude. So I just feel like it's totally opposite. You're like, he's just a bit of a fun guy,
Oh, yeah. Ryan, the man, is like just a really like geeky, dorky dad kind of thing.
He
and
really
like,
is.
And like that's and that kind of stuff was nice. It's sort of like, for me, there's all these moments that were off camera with Hamish and with Brickman, those sort of genuine kind of just pieces which I really appreciate and have stored in my mind of like those conversations where it's just like honest sort of not that sort of
and not as serious.
The image of Brickman and of the sort of the character they kind of put through that.
That's really nice that you've had like a massive positive experience. And obviously now you're doing Lego shows and bringing amazing remote control penguins, which are amazing. That I've been like, we got a stall here. And you just watch the kids go crazy because anything with movement, kids love, as you all know.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say a massive thank you. I know it's been hard because it's been a very exhausting day and we're both like spent because it has been massive. But I appreciate you coming on our podcast. I appreciate you taking the time, even though it's the end of the day and you're probably ready to go home. But Dan, I appreciate you. You can follow Dan. Do you want to be on Instagram? Is that you want to send everybody?
Yeah, so I've just recently finally adopted Brick Dan. So
Brick Dan.
Brick Dan LM, I think it is. Yeah, brick.dan LM.
I'll put a link down so guys can follow you. We really appreciate it for your time. Everybody say thanks to Dan from season 4. Hopefully we might see you on Grandmasters season 10.
Oh, no, I think you might see my kids.
Thank you, Dan. We appreciate it.
It's all right. Pleasure.